Hello, my name's Dan Dodds. I'm the principal attorney at the Dodds Law Firm in Surprise, Arizona. Today I wanted to spend a few moments talking to you about what are the three realities that you should be aware of as to what a family law judge can deal with and what they cannot deal with. One of the first things I think that's important for you to realize is that divorce proceedings primarily deal with issues of the future, not the past. An example being, after the divorce has been granted, how are the assets and liabilities going to divide it? How are the children's parenting plan going to look? Are we going to be levying a spousal maintenance requirement or are we not? Is there going to be child support paid or they're not? Are there special needs children that are going to have to be provided for in one way or the other beyond what the normal sphere that a court would deal with? They're looking at the future, not the past. Now, there's an exception to that. The court can look at events that have occurred in the past if they're of the nature of being considered violent crimes. Well, what might be that on that list? Well, one is if there's been significant domestic violence, either against the other spouse, a roommate where you're not married to, a guest in the home like the parents or an aunt or an uncle or a grandparent. That can be looked at if the court deems that it was an act of significant domestic violence. What's another violent crime the court would look at? Well, unfortunately, marital rape. When your wife says no, no means no. If one of the spouses is engaged in committing a murder or a negligent homicide, that a reasonably prudent person would have never let themselves be put in that position. The court could consider that in terms of having a future effect post-divorce. Perhaps the most disgusting thing, in my opinion, is the sexual abuse of children. Either someone has sexually abused their own children, their stepchildren, somebody else's children. The court would look at that in terms of its carryover effect on its ruling in this divorce proceeding. One of the things that people typically speak to, and I absolutely understand it, they'll come in and say, hey, I want a simple, quick, and affordable dissolution of this marriage. Well, maybe 10% of the time we can do that for them and meet those goals. They tend to look like marriage is a very short duration. There's no children. They haven't taken on any significant liability in the marriage. Yeah, it can be simple, quick, and easy. Most people are not in that category. Some of them have been married 50 and 60 years, and the longer they've been married, the more difficult sometimes it is to work through some of the issues. Well, what are those issues that could take time? Well, child custody issues. What does a parenting plan look like? What does a visitation plan look like? Is there going to be child support paid or not? And if so, how much and who's going to pay it? Are there special needs children or gifted children that have to be dealt with in the marriage after post-dissolution? Are the assets of the marriage equitably divided in terms of the liabilities and the assets? Many times people have a divergent opinion on that. Sometimes you'll see a husband say, I want her out and I'm not going to give her anything. And sometimes the wife says, I want him out and I'm not going to give him anything. Well, the court's not going to look at it quite that way. So it takes some time to get the parties to come together so we can present a proposal to the court that the court can deem as being equitable and fair. Also, there's an awful lot of people that may be working for a salary, but they've got a small business going on the side. Is it a corporation? Is it an LLC? Is it a partnership between the two spouses? Or is it maybe the two spouses own part of it and there's somebody else that owns part of this business, but it's not incorporated? Those all take time to work through. Many times there's succession and estate planning issues that have to be considered. One is, what happens if one of the parties dies? What happens to the children? And who do they go to? So sometimes failure to think about those issues and deal with those issues before the order of dissolution is ordered turns out to be a very protracted, difficult, expensive thing to do after the fact. So those are the three realities. There's many more, but I think those are the three important realities. If you'd like to come in and speak with me about concerns, whether they're pre-divorce or post-divorce issues, I'd certainly be willing to spend some time to help you think through the issues that are of concern to you. Just give my office a call. We'll be glad to set up a consultation where you and I can spend 40 to 45 minutes discussing those issues and helping you think yourself through there. Hope you've found this to be helpful information, and I hope you're having a good afternoon.